building. Grace and peace, everybody. Happy Monday to you all. We're back in the building, ready for a great week. Hopefully you all had a fantastic weekend, a restful Saturday, a blessed Lord's Day. We had a wonderful sermon. I had a great time. Sitting in church with my mom and my second born, which is kind of funny because my second born and I don't know why, yesterday we were dialed into church, but we kept playing with each other. She kept grabbing my hand, wanting to put her head on my shoulder, pinch me, and all that kind of stuff. And I kept thinking about it. I was like, wow, I used to do this when I was a little kid. I used to sit next to my mom, and I used to do the exact same thing that you're doing. I was like, I can't say anything. I was paying no attention, though, when I was a little kid. My big girl was actually paying attention. So shout out. If you're interested, on my channel, under my playlist, I have a playlist called The Book of James. If you're interested in hearing a solid biblical sermon, my pastor is going through the Book of James, and you're welcome to check them out. The sermon has already been added to it, and we're just going line upon line, verse upon verse. It's there for you to check out. Hopefully you'll do so. It'll be good. I want to talk about, for a quick moment, I'm not going to be super long. I want to talk about the Super Bowl. And I don't want to get out here and virtue signal like, oh, I'm so much better. I don't watch the Super Bowl. I really haven't watched it. I really didn't know who was playing until my daughter told me. But I want to talk about the halftime show. And I want to talk about it. There's a content creator who I'm dialed in with. I feel like he and I are right on par. You heard me talk about him before. You're going to hear me talk about him a whole lot more because he's really he's hitting it out the park. And he's talking about why it is so important. What TPUSA did last night, why it was so important. Whether you like TPUSA, whether you like the entertainers, you thought the production value was horrible, whatever, why it is so important that what TPUSA did last night, we might need to sit down and say, hey, let's get through the fluff and let's get down to the reality. 5,000 live active watchers on YouTube. That's kind of crazy. So I don't care what you think about TPUSA. I don't care what you think about Kid Rock or anybody else. That's kind of wild that they had that many people watching it last night. And they didn't plan it ahead of time. I mean, way, way, way ahead of time. So this is a relatively new event. So you're like, hold on. They were able to do that. So I'm going to bring Eric July in a moment. And we're going to just talk about what he said about the Super Bowl and why this isn't something that we should look over, especially if you are somebody who had a problem with the guest artist at the actual halftime show. If you had a problem with that guest, or you have a problem with Starfleet Academy, or you have a problem with whatever television show is on, or whatever movie iterations coming out, you may want to pay attention to this, because are we on the cusp of seeing an alternative option become available and people being encouraged and stoked to say, you know what? I don't have to pay for things that I don't like. I don't have to support things that don't support my values. I can go somewhere else. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to watch the game, because I don't think anybody's going to create a new football league. But you know what? I don't have to watch this stuff. I don't want to watch this. I got to turn. I don't even know what he was singing about. I saw somebody saying even Hispanics didn't know what the dude was singing about. And the whole thing was in Spanish. Well, what are we doing? I don't want to support that. Maybe you say you don't want to support that. What TPUSA did last night, we don't have to talk about it. We got to talk about it. And if you don't like what TPUSA did last night, guess what? We're still going to talk about it. And I'm probably going to talk about it more as more think pieces jump out, because no, what they did was a big deal. Again, put your politics aside. Look at for lack of a better term, look at the economics. This little small organization was able to put on a show that rivaled the 60th anniversary of the Super Bowl. This is not the 60th TPUSA halftime show. This is not even the 6th. It's not even the third. I don't know. Have they done one before? Like this, they put on their first one rivaled the Super Bowl. You got to, come on. You got to give him a hat tip for that. You got to give him some respect. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about this. I don't want to argue about the artist. That's not what I'm arguing about. I'm not going to even argue about the artist at the main Super Bowl. I just want you to look at what could we learn from this? Is there something we can apply from this? Like if you don't like, for example, let's just give you an example. If you don't like the movies that are coming out for your children, the shows that are coming out for your children, the message that they're putting in that stuff, did TPUSA just show you that we can make an alternative to this and we don't have to subject our children to ideas and philosophies and concepts that go counter to our values? I think they just did. I think they gave you the green light. Not like you needed it, but we're going to have to make some decisions as it relates to what we saw. And now we are going to talk about the artist. Yeah, we are going to talk about the production. Yeah, we are going to talk about some of the small details because, okay, fine. It wasn't Super Bowl quality, but don't you remember? The Super Bowls had 60 years to do this. I mean, they got huge people behind it putting that together. And that's the best they could put out. And they got rivaled by TPUSA, who doesn't have these big hitters, who doesn't have the support, the sponsorships, who don't have all this momentum behind it. Maybe we could learn something from that. Maybe we could learn something from what TPUSA did last night. So let me real quick. I'm just going to show you this real quick. I think this is adorable. Okay, so, well, Jason, why don't you share the screen? Thanks. All right. And why don't you make yourself smaller, my guy? I'll tell you, man. Production, Jason. I'm gonna probably end up firing that guy. All right. So anyway, this is Eric July. We're gonna watch this video in a second. Before the show started though, I was looking at the videos coming up, and I'm just noticing Super Bowl halftime show disgrace. TPUSA humiliated the Super Bowl. The worst halftime show in Super Bowl history. And it's just interesting that this has become like, hey, I know that guy. Hey, what's going on, brother? Okay. But it's just interesting that the Super Bowl on its 60th anniversary completely got shellacked by TPUSA of all people. How crazy is that? So shout out to Eric July, content creator that, again, I rock with Eric. I think Eric he has his head on his shoulders. He has his ears to the culture and understands what's going on. So shout out to him. His link is down. The link to this video that I'm watching is down in the description. I'm going to tell you right now, I got a lot of things I'm going to say about him this month. So he's been really crushing it this month. And yeah. So anyway, if you don't mind, I think we know what to do. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
So accurately points to everything. This so accurately points to everything that I've been saying over the years, whether it be on my channels, social media, speaking engagement, IRL, doesn't matter. But I do want to take a step back and I want to be objective right from the get-go. And if you are looking at this objectively, what TPUSA was able to accomplish with this alternative for this halftime show was nothing short of amazing. Not talking about the production issues or anything. I'm just talking about the eyes that they were able to draw. This thing had live viewers, 4 to 5 million people that were watching it. I haven't seen that in a live event on like a YouTube like that. That is insane.
And yeah, let's just take a second. That was a lot of people last night. There were a lot of folk in there. I was in there watching it too. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of folk. That's a lot of people. Now, you got to give them respect. You got to respect that. Like that is some bonkers stuff. But let's keep it going. Let's dance.
No matter what way you put it, that was incredible. That did way more numbers than what I was even anticipating. Okay. So that alone right there, if we're looking at that objectively, insane. That being said, what I more so wanted to talk about was, as I keep using this term, like the landscape. Right now, the world is what it is, or rather in the West, or in America, if you want to be totally accurate, how the culture is, in which it is completely and totally dominated by a side that has, let's say, preferential treatment. They control all of the cultural icons. They control all of the cultural movements. That's just the harsh reality.
Okay, I've said this before, and I'm going to keep making sure I say it. I rock with Eric. The only problem is Eric has a fatalistic view on culture. Isn't the high watermark of society? It's actually your faith. Religion is upstream from culture. Your culture stems from your faith system. And the only thing that is going to change the culture is a significant reevaluation of our faith as individuals, as communities, and of course, as a nation. So that's my only add to this, is that the problem is we've lost we think that the culture war is fought at the movie theater or at the grocery store or on the streaming service. No, the culture war is won in the pews. The culture war is won through the preaching of the gospel. That is what will change the culture. That's it. And if we make that the priority, we put the onus and the pressure on our churches to preach and proclaim and make much of Christ, we will see the culture begin to shift. We'll see a significant change in the culture war. I don't even like saying the culture war, but I understand what they're saying in the culture, because the gospel is getting out. Christ is the only thing that's going to change the hearts and minds of men. We can't argue somebody's change if they think that they need to cut their Johnson off and turn it into something else. We can't argue them out of that. The only thing that's going to change that is the gospel. So that's my only push or change, if you will, with Eric. And I only would add it if I ever talked with Eric. I would only add it to it, but he's crushing it though. So shout out to Eric.
This was why this existed in the first place, and why TPUSA wanted to come up with this whole alternative, right? Regardless of what you feel like their ulterior motives are there, it was an alternative that they attempted to kind of put out there. If you thought that it was going to be like anything like, let's say, completely comparable to what the Super Bowl did, you're out of your mind. I don't think anybody really anticipated that. Still, it overachieved as far as the eyeballs that it was willing to draw. Again, production issues aside, performances aside. What I do want to say is that everybody, I think, as customers, as viewers, audiences, and creators, especially entertainers, you have to look at this objectively yourselves and understand what you are up against. Look at the reaction. I'm like watching these, even just NFL meme pages that don't even get in the weeds of this. The reason.
Okay, before he gets too far, because now he's going to talk about what we're going to hear. We're hearing around the water cooler. What you're going to hear is, oh, you watch the NFL. You watch the TPUSA, and you're going to get mocked. You're going to get snickers. You're going to get people trying to make you feel dumb. Like, oh, you watch that dumb thing. Oh, I watched, whatever. And the point is, they're going to try to take away the legitimate observation that 4 to 5 million people watched TPUSA's live Super Bowl halftime show yesterday. You can't take that away. You can't. You can't. That's a lot of folk. And they're going to try their very best to make you feel like, oh, well, but no, this is something real. So now take that same thing and transcribe it over to some kind of media. Okay? Whether it be a live action movie that depicts a historical figure correctly, or cartoons for your children, or books or movies, whatever it is. Oh, you watch that? Oh, why are they doing that? Because they want to take away the fact that, this thing is eating people's lunch. If you see behind Eric, there's all these cartoon characters, these comic book characters. He is responsible for every one of those characters. He started his own comic book company because he didn't like what DC and Marvel were doing. And I tell people this all the time. He is now on year 4, and I have a whole shelf of his comic books. He's on year 4. He's starting his 4th year. He has been able to hire artists and content creators that have been blackballed from Marvel and DC. That's insane. And we're not just talking about mail boys and coffee clerks. We're talking about big, heavy hitters that created name-recognized content for Marvel and DC. He has been able to hire them to make his content for his comic book company. That is bonkers. So no, we don't snicker. Don't let them snicker you out of this. You don't have to support things that you don't like. If you don't rock with what's going on, what they did on the halftime show yesterday, you do have alternatives. You can't say, no, I'm not going to do that. Imagine what will happen next year. Maybe it'll be TPUSA, maybe it won't. But somebody is sitting around looking at those numbers saying, wait, they were able to do how much? Hold on. Could we not do that? TPUSA is saying, wait, we did how much? Wait, and we didn't have name recognition. We didn't have a whole bunch of people pushing and encouraging and the momentum. Oh, wait. Maybe we could. Just maybe we could. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's go. Shout out to Eric.
The reason why they are going to demonize and try to delegitimize any sort of effort is because they do not want to control, or they don't want the influence happening on the other side. That's just the bottom line. Okay, so it didn't matter if this production was absolutely perfect. They had all sorts of genres, and no matter any of that, it was always going to be said that it was the worst thing ever, comparable to what the Super Bowl was able to produce.
Haven't we heard that already? I saw somebody saying, I've seen it already today. And maybe we might pull up some videos of people saying it was a bad thing. But no, like they don't want it to start seeping into the minds of the culture that, oh, we can do something different. We don't have to just take whatever you give us and say, oh, well, they're selling us slop today. I guess I got to go get a double portion of slop. No, we can actually do something different. And TPUSA just showed us all that. We knew it, but they gave us, for lack of a better term, permission to do it, to get out there and say, you know what, I'm going to do something different. I don't have to take this slop, this foolishness that they're doling out, and that's all I can get. No, we can do different. What I'm going to put my money behind things that I support. I know that's like a crazy idea, but I don't have to support things that don't support that align with my values, or at least are in the ballpark of my values. I think it's fair to say that the Super Bowl halftime show, for most people, did not comport with their values. For crying out loud, they didn't even know what he was singing. So my values are at least in English, right? So maybe, just maybe, we can say, hey, we're gonna need America's pastime to have an American singing it in English. Oh, crazy idea, right?
That was always going to be the case. There's nothing that you can do, because that's more representative of how they operate out there in the real world with everything, not just like a contained event like the Super Bowl. This is everywhere. Anybody that sees any sort of momentum is going to be delegitimized. Why would they give you a fair shot? Why would they give you fair play? Because in doing so, they would give you power to influence. Well, they thrive off of that. They are never going to treat you with any sort of or try to find your effort to be legitimate. They're going to work and overdrive as they work through this. I saw all these people talking about this as an alternative. You're seeing people just delegitimize. That's their effort. That was what they were always going to do.
And I agree with Eric 100%. I want to real quick. And Abigail, you are right on the money. She said Erica has also worked with Angel Studio to put out a comic book for a series they are putting out called Gabriel and the Guardians. That's very interesting because I have it right here. I have it. It's put out by Eric July's comic book company, and I picked it up. There you go. Money where my mouth is. Let's do it. What if we all supported things that we really believed in? This is a manga, and manga comics are really hard to understand for Westerners. I don't, I have to admit, it's a little strange, but it's well drawn. Let me say it like that. But it says a manga. Mangas are a little bit strange. But I said, you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. And I bought it. It's right here. It's so funny that you brought that up. I'm like, I got it right there. There you go. Put your money where your mouth is. Support things that you believe in. I really think TPUSA, in a weird kind of way, gave everybody permission to do that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna drop the link to Eric's channel. Y'all go check out his comic books over here. Go support him. Go buy some comics. Do something. Do something different than what they want you to do. They don't want you to say, "Hey, TPUSA crushed it." Maybe I didn't like all the songs. Maybe I didn't like every artist. Maybe the lights were a little bit weird sometimes. But they crushed it. They don't want you to say that. So I'm going to say it. TPUSA crushed it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, you know what? All you can buy is Marvel Comics. Nope. No, you don't. I got it right here. And I got a whole shelf more. And he's got digital. Yep, digital comics. I support his digital comics because I want kids to have better media. Let me tell you the very last thing, and I'm gonna finish up with Eric. No, let's Eric finish. I will come back. Put a pin in that, Jason. You're talking too much this morning. Put a pin in it.
So I bring this up because I want people just to be more so mindful of this and how bad that it is. It should be an example of this. Even something that gets 4 or 5 million views or whatever it was at a given time, you see how they treat that. You know, you're never going to be. Why are you competing? Why they want to black pill you. That's the whole point. Okay. My argument has been really consistent on this. I want folks to get out there and create those alternatives, and I want people to try to seek those out. I'm not telling people to go enjoy something that they thoroughly do not. No. If you want the playing field to be better and you want a somewhat return to like normalcy where, okay, it wasn't just one side just dominating the cultural conversation, that's what's going to need to happen. People are going to have to create these alternatives. You're not going to infiltrate that. You're not going to infiltrate the NFL. That's never going to happen. You're not going to infiltrate all these things that work so very hard to get in control of and power of. You're never going to control those because when they took it, or who they took, rather, when they infiltrated and took it from, it was not from a bunch of people that, let's say, understood that as a cultural battleground. That's how they got control of it in the first place. So now that they're in control, why would they concede any of that? Why would they do that? Why would they give you that back when they worked so hard to get it in the first place? The only way to win here is to understand the game that is levied upon you and start acting accordingly, building these alternatives, and for people to gravitate towards those alternatives should they like it. Not saying that people should not. I'm not saying that people should support something that they're just genuinely not into or they think is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But if there's going to be any balance, you're going to have to see efforts like this. Sometimes it's not going to be this massive in scale, but you're going to have to see efforts like that. But every individual needs to be paying attention to how they act. It's not fair. It has nothing to do with any, oh, it was corn. It has nothing to do with anything. It was going to be the worst thing ever, no matter what they put out there. That's just how people in this space are wired to think. They do not want you getting influenced. Why would they even remotely give you props? Like I said in my previous video, you're more inclined to give them props, the leftist props, than they are you. They'll never give you any sort of prop and say, oh, that was okay, or that was an effort, that was admirable. Why would they give you that?
Stop and think about that for a second. Why do we go bend over backwards to legitimize the NFL halftime show? But they won't say, hey, by the way, you won't find one person that rocked with the NFL Super Bowl halftime show say, yeah, you know, TPUSA did crush it. You know what? I got to give them a hat tip for that. They did a good job. They did good. You're not going to see that. But you will find people that rocked with TPUSA, conservatives, Republicans, those type of people say, give some kind of props to the NFL. It's always one-sided. It's always in one direction. The giving of and ceding and conceding of space always goes from the right to the left. The left never gives you legitimacy. They never say, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, this comic book is kind of dope. You're right. I still want Marvel to win, but yeah, this is good. Yeah, this is some good art. Yeah, you're right. They're not going to do that. So why do we do it? That's my question. Why do we keep giving them props when they're feeding you slop, but they won't even give you credit when you're cooking a pretty decent hamburger, an edible hamburger, a nutritious hamburger? They won't give you credit for that, but they will expect you to give them credit for complete and utter bovine scatology that they put on a plate. They want you to say, oh, this is wonderful. This is 5-star. Chef's kiss. But they won't even give you even a head nod that you put in good effort and you're putting out something that's good. Why is that? That's my question. I woke up to that this week. I'm like, you know what? Christians, and let me do this is now to pick fight with Christians. If you're not a Christian, it's okay. You can sit here and this is what we need to do. Christians need to critique Christians. Why do we keep giving credit to things that are an abomination to our God, that spit in the face of our Lord, and we're okay with that? Why do we keep giving that kudos? Did he not save you from your sins? Did he not save you from the wrath to come? And somebody gets on the stage, somebody gets on the platform, somebody gets on the screen and proverbially spits in the face of Christ. And you're like, well, that was a pretty good movie. That was a good show. Why do we do this? Why? That's a serious question. I, for the life of me, and myself included, I've done it in the past and I need to get corrected about it. But why do we do that? Why do we keep giving credence to things that absolutely, unequivocally degrade, disgrace, abominate our Lord, and we'll fight each other to do it? Oh no, we gotta go see the Super Bowl. How dare you not go see the Super Bowl? Dude, they got somebody on the stage that completely abominates Christ. And that's on both. I mean, there's a lot of instances. I'm not just saying the Super Bowl, but why do we do that? It just seems like such a horrible, self-inflicted wound. Let's finish this up. Eric, he's got the last couple seconds. I stopped it literally 3 seconds.
All I'm asking is that people start acting accordingly. That's it.
That was it. Shout out to Eric July. And I wanted to just start this morning off. I know people, the think pieces are coming. They've already been written up. The think pieces about the Super Bowl and the TPUSA halftime show. I'm sorry. TPUSA did something last night. They did something pretty amazing when you put it in its proper perspective. And they provided, whether it was a 5-star Michelin hamburger, I think we can all agree they gave you a pretty good meal. They gave you a pretty good performance. Whether you liked everything, maybe you had to take some of the pickles off, or you didn't really like the fries, but they didn't. They gave you a pretty good meal yesterday. Their halftime show was legit. And what they're going to want you to do is to say, oh no, the TPUSA one, oh, that's a knockoff. That's the Temu Super Bowl. But like, dude, you had somebody on there that I didn't want to support. You don't have to support bad products. You really don't. If you don't find value, or your family is not edified, or you're not built up by that, you don't have to support it. I really hope that's not revelation knowledge. If you say, you know what, I don't want to support somebody who's anti-American at America's pastime, the biggest show, I think every year, the Super Bowl is probably the biggest show, bar none. At America's pastime, somebody who hates America, and the doggone thing wasn't even in English, so I could even understand what he was singing about. I don't want to support that. I don't want to support that. Sure, I'll go over here and watch TPUSA's. It's not in a huge stadium. They ain't got lights and all that kind of shenanigans going on. But you know what? I understood what he was singing. At least it was in English. I mean, that might need to be the T-shirt. At least it was in English. Like you over to bop your head to Insane Bunny, and you don't even know what the heck you're talking about. He could have been talking about your mama. He could have been saying your mama is fat and she dresses you funny. And you over there banging your head. Oh yeah, that was great. You didn't know what he was saying. At least we knew what they were saying. At least it was in English. So again, I was really impressed. I was impressed with it. I'm like, yo, this is impressive. And to see how many people watched it. And I think now, like in the after watch, it's like 25 million. It's something crazy. Like, you're not going to take that away from them. Give it to them. Give them their props. Give them their flowers. Let them give it to them. And if you're somebody on the right, it is okay to say, no, I don't. No, I want to rock with somebody that actually sings it in English. I actually want to rock with something in English. Call me crazy, right? I want to actually know what I'm singing about. Right. So I want to actually know. And you know what? I know what they were talking about. I want to be with some people. These people actually love America. They actually want America to be great. I can rock with that. This dude over here, I don't know, man. I don't know if this dude wants America to be great. I don't know about that. I want to see America be great. So therefore, I'm gonna rock with it. I don't care. That's fine. You can say what you want to say about me. I don't care. I'm not interested in your opinion anymore. And I'm going to start supporting things. That's going to be the theme of this show. We want to start supporting things that we believe in. Now, I might not rock with everything. I've been talking about Eric July and his comic books. I don't buy every one of them. There's some I don't really like. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But I do support the lion's share of them. I pick them up. I got a pretty big order coming later on this month. And I support it because I want to see that type of stuff continue. Can you imagine if we got behind artists that put out products that supported what we believed in? And we're not going to believe in everything. We're not going to rock with everything. But why in the world are we clamoring and fighting and beating each other up to support artists that spit in the face of our God, that don't believe that a child is a child until they're 3, that don't believe that marriage is between a man and a woman? Like, why are we fighting with each other to support people that don't support what we believe? I just want to know that. I just want to know. Why are we doing that? Are we under obligation? Am I under obligation that I got to support content that doesn't rock with my values? Why? Why am I doing that? And please don't tell me that everything over there in the mainstream slop fest is good quality. Please don't you dare. Don't you try it. Because if we were being honest, I'm going to bring Starfleet Academy because I'm seeing it's sitting right here in front of me. That is a garbage show. It's a garbage set. It's a garbage writing. It's a garbage acting. There's nothing on there that's not eight layers in the garbage can. There's nothing. So don't tell me that them spending $10 million an episode, yeah, that's about what they spent, between $8 to $10 million an episode for an hour-long show, that we couldn't find something better. Don't tell me it, because it's not true. No, well, hold on. No, but don't blame this halftime on NFL fire on Jay. I don't care. I don't care I'm not blaming anybody. I don't think I've blamed anybody. I haven't even said the artist's name correctly. I call him Insane Rabbit or whatever. I don't care. No, I don't blame, but I don't have to support it though. That's the thing. Every year the NFL, matter of fact, every year the NFL does this. If you haven't noticed, they put out some kind of controversy. Last year it was whoever it was and didn't select Lil Wayne, and they were in New Orleans. The year prior, I don't remember what it was. Every year is a controversy about their halftime pick. Maybe we should just stop doing that. Like, I don't want to be a part of outrage count. I'm not going to do the outrage economy with you. Nah, I'm just going to go do something else. And it doesn't have to be like an anti thing. We now have alternatives. I'm not anti-Marvel, anti-DC. You all know that I'm a big DC Marvel stan. The problem is they don't put out products that I rock with. So now I'm rocking with the Rippaverse. I'll buy an alternative comic book, an independent comic book, and support them because they actually put out content that I enjoy and find value in. Oh, this is the other thing. Oh, that's why. Let me see. Let me bring that up. Why I keep talking about comic books. Comic books in the 80s and 90s, those 70s comics, their actual vocabulary, and most of you all know that I used to be a classroom teacher. The actual vocabulary in those 70s and 80s comics going into the early 90s, that actual vocabulary was higher than most newspapers. Those things were written usually on like a 5th grade reading level, whereas most newspapers are written on a 3rd grade reading level. Newspapers and magazines. I bring that up because I found out that a great way to get little boys to read was to give them comic books to read. And we're not saying comic books with raunchy stuff in there, anything like that. So don't go there with ignorance. But I used to go to the used bookstores and just find good comics, and I would make those available for my students to read in class. Come and find out everybody loved it. Because and their vocabulary and their reading comprehension skills would always go up because they were reading these things at a higher level. So they were forced, like, I don't know what this word means. I need to look this up. And so on and so forth. And it would only push them forward. So that's why I'm always a big stand for comic books, especially with young readers. You get them hooked on some good comics. And nowadays you probably need to check and make sure they're good comics, but you can go back. You're almost guaranteed, like them 70s, 80s comics at your used bookstore, go to the thrift store, secondhand books stores like that. You're going to probably find some really good comics, and their reading level, the vocabulary level are very high. And you're going to expose your kids to some great, usually they're very scientific as well, especially when you get into that, or they're getting into deeper ideas and their actual growth and maturing of characters. So there's a lot of good value in that. So that's why I'm a big stand for comic books. So get your kids some comics. Get them some comics. Anyway, shout out. We got brand new members up in here. The Silly Girl. Welcome, lady. Welcome. And CR, thank you so much as well. We appreciate you. Brand new member. Good to see you. Did you see Candy's fake TPUSA stream screenshot? No, I did not. I don't really care what Candace has to say. I'm going to talk about Candace a little bit later, but I don't really care what she has to say. She can go kick rocks. I think people are realizing that she has to keep inserting herself into the conversation by hook or by crook, some way or another. She's got to keep getting herself into it. So by bringing herself, talking about the halftime show, I am kind of interested. As I'm saying, I don't care. I'm kind of interested. So let me go pull it up real quick. Sorry. She's trying to keep herself relevant because nobody cares what she thinks. Nobody cares. Everybody knew she was going to say something ridiculous. She hasn't let us down. Okay, I see one comment that she made. I'm assuming this might be it about both options. This is very interesting from a mono option person like Candace. I'll pull this in a second. Thank you so much, MT, for the 2. Bless you, man, this morning. And the left using candy as proof of TPUSA failing. Okay, well, in my opinion, TPUSA, the game is for TPUSA to lose. I'll say it like that. If TPUSA keeps dilly-dallying around, losing focus, if they don't clean house and get rid of some of those people around there that don't align with conservative values, they will fail. They will. If they start cleaning the house and stop engaging with the Tuckers, and I hate to say even Megan, and they stop engaging with them, and they replace them with real conservative voices, maybe even start bringing in new voices that people haven't even met yet. The field is wide open for TPUSA, but it is for them to lose. If they keep messing with Tucker, keep patty caking with Megan, all that kind of stuff like that, keep interacting with Candace, they're going to fail. They will fail. If they don't and they start, you know what, we're going to put that's noise behind us and get rid of Tucker, stop engaging with Megan, never talk to Candace again, and they start moving this game forward and really get out there and start doing something. Because you do realize Candace cannot do, part of her jealousy, and I do agree with them with people who say that she's jealous, a layer of her jealousy sandwich, is the fact that she can't do what TPUSA is doing. She can't take her eyes off of TPUSA and focus on Candace Owens USA and do that. She can't. Nobody's going to come to college campuses to see her. She's not going to pack out a stadium. That's why she's busy trying to go to Australia to talk foolishness, but she can't do it for free in Nashville. Nobody cares what Candace is doing. Candace is only relevant as much as TPUSA keeps giving her smoke, keeps giving her, steam. If they ignore her and leave her on red, she's gonna wither up. That's just my little 2 cents. And I know, hold on, let me give you my last 2 cents. And I know that because I had that fool earlier this weekend that called me a liar. And I was listening to what he was saying. I did the video about the guy called me a liar and related to Candace. So much of what so much of what Cantifa believes about TPUSA has been filtered through Candace that it's insane. I mean, they believe some crazy stuff, and TPUSA hasn't done those things. And like, well, where are you getting this from? Well, Candace said it. Candace said it on her episode this, that, and other. Well, you do realize that Candace isn't TPUSA. So yeah, she can go kick rocks. What do you have here? Thank you so much for the love of Jesus. Candace is a hater. So embarrassing. No argument for me. None whatsoever. Okay, I think this is what you're talking about, and I'll pull this in. And I'm not going to, I don't plan to be long. Is this what you're talking about? Her saying, I'm sorry, but I hate both options. On the one hand, we have a halftime show presented without a word of English spoken. Okay, is that the worst part of it, though? Is that the only part of it? I mean, I did say, hey, at least it was in English. So that's interesting. On the other hand, we have an organization that scammed its views by paying platform advertisers, followed by influencers to pretend they broke records. The left versus right grift is actually boring now. What exactly are we doing here, America? That's interesting. And I commented on this. Is funny to me that Candace knows, if you read this, she knows how to scam platforms and paying for advertisers to count as views. Do you ever wonder, does she do that? I'm telling you, since most of what she says is projection, does she know something did she just tell us how she keeps getting her views? Did she just tell us that? I'm just wondering. I'm not saying she uses bots, but I mean, hey, I'm gonna leave it alone. I don't know emphatically, but based upon information and belief, you know what? I think we can make a case there. Let's see right here. It says, all right, here we go. Double B's performance was good. TPUSA didn't do too well. Kid Rock lip synced and jumped off on the Jesus grift. Kid Rock is buddies with Tucker Carlson and owns a private church on his property. Okay. What does any of that have to do with the fact that better than 5 million people are watching it? What does any of that have to do? Am I to believe that Beyonce doesn't lip sync? Am I to believe that Taylor Swift doesn't lip sync? Tell me what any of that has to do with anything. I'll wait. And let me know. I mean, for real, if there's something that maybe there's a great understanding that is surmised from that. My point, let me bring this back up. My point in this today was to say that TPUSA did something great. But I also did say in the beginning, hey, maybe you didn't like the performance. But you can't take away from the fact that they had more people watching than anybody ever expected them to. That's my point. But what about this? How about this one? What if you, Bumps Johnson, got out there and helped them get better content next year? What if you did that? So next year they had even better artists. What would happen? I'm just saying. Just something to think about. Feel free, let me know. She big mad though. She gonna astro project. Oh, y'all are wild. Y'all are wild. Forgot about that. uh, yeah, I mean, that's fine, and that's my point. Like, and you don't have to like every aspect of it. Come on, man. They've had halftime shows with more artists on there. You're like, okay, I don't like that song. That's not my jam. But you know what? I could get with this one. When was that one? I'm trying to remember that year. They had like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Eminem. And I'm like, I remember that show. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Okay, those 5 million people deserve an actual performance. Bad gave a performance. TPUSA is headline Tucker. Erica interviewed by Megyn Kelly. It is what it is. Okay. Well, it's almost like I didn't just say that they need to stop rocking with Tucker and Megyn. But please understand, Tucker and Megyn aren't the only problems that TPUSA has, but they are, in my opinion, some big problems. What are we saying? I'm not understanding, Bumps. But it is what it is, my guy. Yeah, good conversation in here. Wait, what are we talking about? 5 million ain't nothing. If 50 million, I don't know. I'm not understanding what you're saying. Why? Like, wait, hold on, man. Hold on, my guys and gals. Why is 5 million not nothing? Explain that to me. I got 279 people watching this right now. 5 million would be humongous. What are you talking about? I guarantee you, if you had 5 million, if you sell widgets, you have 5 million people coming to buy your widgets. If 5 million people want to buy my J-Wid hoodie, by the way, please make sure you cop a hoodie. That wouldn't, I'm sorry. What is the standard that you're using to say 5 million ain't nothing? I got to stop at that first sentence because I don't know anybody, if you put it in the proper context, 5 million would be a whole bunch. What do you mean? That doesn't even make sense. I'm sorry, my guy. And that was another question. Did he lip sync? Did Bad Bunny lip sync? Never mind. Okay, no. I don't think we're here to have that honest conversation. I mean, that's the whole point. Like, thank you so much, President Not Perfect. Friend, I appreciate you. You got Snoop and Nicki and MAGA. Can't tell me 100 of millions wouldn't watch. Wasted opportunity. How about this one? I'll tell you exactly why. Because us, the highly melanated community, we act ridiculous and we won't let somebody go and do what they need to do. We act like, oh, we're gonna kick Nicki Minaj out the cookout, and Snoop Dogg can't come to the Mary Jane Festival because he support. Why don't we just let them just do it? Why don't we let them? Because Republicans and liberals all like music, and I'm gonna use this philosophy, and this is my philosophy moving forward. It's the Michael Jordan philosophy. Republicans and Democrats buy sneakers. Like, why do we act like only this group can enjoy this? And if you sell sneakers to Republicans, we're going to lose our minds and act ridiculous. That's the problem. And it's mostly us. It's the us's. Black folk act like that. If we stop acting like we're total, complete, insane lunatics and say, okay, fine, you rocked it, then we go ahead and do it instead of acting ridiculous. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, that question is valid. The question is valid. What if the NFL pulled his collective head out of his butt and goes back to an American sports event? I'm just trying to say, what are we doing? All right, good conversation. I'm saying TPUSA should have had artists that performed and brought the house down. Politics is a game of addition. 5 million is nice, but will it be 50 million over the next month? I don't know. Maybe if we support them, maybe if we say, hey, maybe if we all collectively sent TPUSA a giant thank you. If we all went to TPUSA's comment page and just said, yo, this was dope. Do more. Keep it going. Maybe that's just an easy, simple way to demonstrate and say, hey, this is what we want. Because as I said earlier, like we will fight each other to keep getting the slop that the NFL put on the stage yesterday, to keep getting the slop that Disney and Pixar and fill in the blank keep putting on the screen. We'll fight each other to go get that slop, but we won't say, hey, you know, these people over here, they're actually cooking a pretty decent hamburger. They're making some, okay, that's a pretty nice steak over there. Oh, no, we got to fight. We got to go over here and support them. We got to support Netflix and what they're putting out. Hey, but what about these people over there? They're actually putting out a meal that we can get with. It's not the best, but if we support them, it'll get better. Why are we fighting each other for that? Y'all make that make sense to me. It makes no sense. All right. You know what? This is a good question. Halftime show entertainers don't get paid. I'll have to find the video. It was a couple years ago explaining the halftime show you don't actually get paid to do. It's really about exposure. They don't get paid. It's 100% exposure. That's actually probably why the artists that get on it are not usually like, that's why you don't see like your top tiers all the time. But I'll find it. But I don't think they get paid. Yeah, I'm not, no. TPUSA on their actual website. And let me double check. Let's double check real quick. I thought it was like 25 million today. Hold on, let me just double check. $19 million views. I mean, like, tell me why. 19 million views. It's fair to say that that's pretty big deal. I don't know how another way to say that. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have streamed this silly thing. Maybe I should have did it. You can't be. I mean, come on. You got to put that in perspective, man. We're not talking about some mega studio. Hey, going back to dunk on Starfleet Academy, they haven't had that many views. And we're talking about an established brand. As a matter of fact, Star Trek, this is their 60th year as well. They didn't have that many people watching it. I mean, put that in perspective. 5 million is a lot. Like, again. Okay. I got you. It was a Fox Living Color moment. Remember when they did their show during the halftime? It bought 100. Okay. The culture and the world that we're in 25 years ago when In Living Color did that is completely different now. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean that might as well have been. I mean, you might as well be talking about something, 700 years ago. I mean, that's how different we are now. So I don't see the apples to apples there. And actually, I think it was more than 25 years. But I got your point, man. Thanks. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? Bumps, tell me this, my friend. I want content that edifies my family. I want content that builds me up and feels good about being an American. I want content that I can read and hear in English. What do I do now? Okay, Bad Bunny uploaded his it on YouTube and it's got 13 million views. What do I do that I want something different? So what do I do? I've been on here for almost 55 minutes on the Lord's internet, using my free will to tell you that you don't have to buy and support content that you don't like. But I feel like maybe I'm misunderstanding either what you're saying or you're doing what I said. We'll fight each other to support something that we don't agree with. So I'm supposed to support something that doesn't align with my values. So what do I do? Is my question to you. All right, good conversation going on. Good conversation in the chat. I always appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tina. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Always good. I appreciate you. I just wanted to talk about that. It was not an intentionally, I wasn't going to make it a long live stream or anything like that. Um, I'm reading through the comments, y'all. I appreciate y'all for sure. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you. Bumps. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Okay, good conversation. Oh, shout out. Got a brand new member up in here. Melinda up in here. Shout out to you. Brand new member. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining. Hey there, what'd she say here? I love the TPUSA halftime show. Kid Rock's performance made me cry. Well, there we go. Yeah, I don't think, and I'll have to find it. I don't believe artists actually get paid to do the halftime show. It's almost like it's just exposure. All right, we got some good conversation. I appreciate it though for sure. Okay, today, now according to information and belief, Candace said that she is not streaming this week. If she does not stream this week, then I am going to I'm going to do a live Q&A today or a panel for this week. So I'll just give you a heads up. We'll probably I have some guests coming on. Gary and I are probably going to do a show tomorrow, Tuesday. Thursday I have a guest coming on, and Friday I have a potential guest as well. So, and I'll make sure you all know you'll want these guests. You do want them. I just got to make sure once I get there, once they send me the picture for the thumbnail, that's when I lock it in that they're serious. So you want these guests, trust me. So that'll be it. If she doesn't stream, then my 4:30 slot we'll just be doing. I'll do a live Q&A. Maybe we'll talk about this some more. Maybe there'll be some more think pieces. Maybe some more come out and I'll be like, oh man, it was garbage. It was terrible. I don't think I will because I do believe that was the right thing for them to do. But so that's what'll be going on this week. And if she does go live, then of course we'll do that as well. Just giving you a heads up. I'm just looking to see if there's any good conversation pertaining to it. I think I'll save the rest of it for tonight. Maybe there'll be some more that pops up. Yeah, I'll save the rest for tonight. All right, what we got? Anything else up in here? Shout out to the best live chat. I appreciate you. What does Heather say here? We at the height of our idol worshiping society, when we use celebrities, mere mortals to hussify our beliefs. I think I can rock with that, Heather. I can appreciate that. And I've said it before, like entertainment is not mandatory. We don't have to sit around and say, well, now I do understand the importance of, unplugging and finding something that you enjoy, having a hobby. Totally get that. But we treat entertainment like it is a must have. Like we gotta be entertained. And because I gotta be entertained, then I gotta go down here to Mouseland and I gotta give them $100,000 and a kidney to go be entertained. We don't have to be entertained like that. We can, again, I do believe in recreation, but we don't have to be entertained to that degree. We've kind of made it, I think we've made entertainment an idol. And therefore, all of the other lowercase idols and subsequent idols come from the fact that we worship entertainment and being entertained, in my opinion. You know what? Can you skim through it? Let me see. I'm pretty sure it's because some other people streamed it. I didn't, of course, I didn't stream it. Um, I'm sure we can. How about that? That's not, hold on. Oh, it's not as long as I thought it was. Yeah, it's not that long. So, only problem is that's the only thing I'm worried about is YouTube. YouTube does not like music. YouTube does not like music. I don't know why. So even singing, like singing, like think about church singing, people singing in church, like congregational singing. We do congregational singing at my church, and every video, because I work in the background and I can see our church's studio, every video gets a copyright strike. We're singing it. We're singing out of a hymnal, for crying out loud. That's the only problem is I don't know if YouTube is going to give me a copyright strike because they love doing that. So that would be my only. I'm gonna look and see, is it okay if I do that before? I mean, I could kind of like scrub through it real quick and say, okay, this is this artist, but YouTube will give me a copy ding, and I'll wake up and I got to fight with them about a copyright strike. It's crazy work. All right, let's keep going. And and see, this is the thing I want, and maybe I can request it from TPUSA and get a right to, no, I don't say right to stream, but a right to critique it or observe it or whatever like that. So I'll actually shoot them an email. I'm not going to send a text message to the secretary at the FBI. This is something the thing. The blessing in TPUSA's performances is the message within the music spoke truth against wokeness. And that's my point. Like, we should be encouraging content that you support. If you want to see more content like that, if you didn't think that TPUSA had all the best artists or whatever like that, the only way that's going to change or the only way it's going to get better is for us to support them. And I don't think by any means or measures it was bad. So I don't think you're not going to convince me that what TPUSA put out was like a high school musical, a third grade, you know, theater activity. You're not going to convince me of that. So let's not even waste our time with that silly commentary. It was good. Can it be better? Absolutely. What can we do to help support them so that it can? Like, that's the part I don't understand. If we're not going to put our money where our mouth is and buy the books, if you support independent artists and you want to see good writing, if you're not going to put your money where your mouth is, what are we going to do? Like, what are we supposed to do? That's the part I don't get. But I mean, it's what it is. I see some good conversation in here. Lots of good family reunion going on, back and forth. Always love that. I want pews in churches, truthfully. Oh, bring choirs back. I'm sorry, girl. I saw chairs. We have a choir, and yeah, I have no problem with that. But when we sing, we always get a copyright ding. It is the lamest thing. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Okay. No, I'm just seeing some good conversation in here. Y'all always back and forth. Some good stuff like that. Thank you so much, Betty. Has your friend appealed from getting fired from the office happened yet? That's an excellent question. Let me ask Amanda. What Betty is talking about, she's talking about Amanda Timpson, who is the young woman that kind of got the whole Fonnie Willis debacle on the main stage. And she lives here in Atlanta. And that is a wonderful question because I have not heard back from her. I'm going to shoot her a text right now. And I've interviewed her several times. We've had great conversation. If you look up Amanda Timpson, I think there's a playlist called Amanda Timpson. And she's a young lady that Fonnie Willis completely tried to ruin her career. She fired her, all this kind of stuff like that. And she was actually trying to do the right thing because Fonnie Willis here in Atlanta, in Fulton County, was not using monies from a grant in the way that they should have been used. But Amanda Timpson's name was on the grant. So if anything came back, it would have come back on Amanda, not on Fonnie. And so she was trying to make sure that they were using the funds for gang prevention in the proper way, and it didn't go well. She ended up getting fired and lots of shenanigans and hijinks. And I appreciate, here, I'm going to actually pull this back up and I'm going to take a picture of it and I'm going to text it to her. And that'll be my question to her. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all remembering these people. I know she's going to be very impressed that y'all remember her. Yeah, I'm going to send this to her. That's it. I'm not going to even say anything. I'm just going to send that to her and see what she says. Shout out, Betty. Thank you for the 5 and reminding us of that. Thank you. All right, we got you. We got them up in here. My comic book is a Christian true crime comics. That is a thing. Check out J. Warner Wallace and his son. Now, I like J. Warner Wallace as a person. He has a true crimes comic book? Is that right? I like J. Warner I like J. Warner Wallace. First of all, he's got like JW in his name. He's got to be a great person for that alone. Really? Hold on, let me see. He has a comic book? Are you kidding me? Get out of here. Case file. Okay. Well, guess what? He has a comic book. And guess what? It's in my cart now. I will pick this up. Okay. Thank you. I didn't know. I now have been taught. We have pews, we have choirs, we got a pipe organ. We're good to go. And doctrine. Okay, we're good to go then. Lambert, we good over here. Where's your choir challenge? I don't know if that might sound like y'all might be talking to somebody else. We have pews, yeah. Oh, I guess I could have put it in the chat. That would have made sense. I found it and then put it in my cart and didn't do that thing's humongous. That thing's long. Oh, that link is crazy. Here, let me pull it. Let me put it in so y'all can see it. Maybe that'd be the best thing to do, Jason. This is how you know this is a real show. This is not recorded. This is live. And I'm gonna get out of here. I'm not gonna keep y'all long. All right, so here we go. J. Warner Wallace. Yeah, I remember this book, Person of Interest. He talked about that. So this is his this is the only one I see though. He only has one. And it's a comic book. Shout out. Okay. Okay. Well, I gotta get my login, but there we go right there. Just so you know. All right. So we are having a discussion about pews. Are we having pews over chairs? Is that our discussion today? Now, look, you're not going to argue with me. There's no argument for me at all. I will absolutely agree. The Prince halftime show was probably one of the best I've seen. I think anybody's seen. I thought that was the best one. Yeah, I'm right there with JJ's World. I'm right there with you. There's no argument here. All right. Oh my gosh, that link looks crazy. I'm so sorry. I put that link in there, and it is crazy in there. I'm sorry. I should put a anyway. So I'm a cop that Jay Warner Wallace book and see what it's about. Murder and Meaning. Okay, I did not know he did a comic book. That's crazy. 160 pages too. Oh, that's a serious comic. Okay, I'll get down with it. I will report back. Oh, appreciate y'all jumping in here for sure. All right, I'm just looking through, make sure I hit all the high points. Looks like some good back and forth. Always appreciate good family reunion going on at the spades table, the dominoes table. Absolutely around the grill. Lots of good conversation. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's a graphic novel. I apologize. I should not. You know what? I respectfully, it is a graphic novel. It's not a comic. I don't know why. I immediately said comic, and it is a graphic novel. All right, good conversation back and forth. Y'all, I appreciate it. So this afternoon, we're gonna come back and talk about it. We'll pick back up discussing TPUSA versus the official NFL halftime show. Maybe I'll get my shipment of my comic books and I'll open them up and we'll talk about those. But at the end of the day, as we round these bases and land this plane, I really want us to start thinking about supporting things that you ultimately want to see more of. If you want to see better artists on the TPUSA stage, maybe we need to find a way to support them and let them know, like, yo, I was a part of the 5 million. Maybe I'll make a T-shirt, one of the 5 million that we're watching, and we want to see better. We want to see more of this. More. How can we help you do more and better and such of that nature? If we want to see better things in our schools, we want to see better. One of the things, and this is the last thing, I promise. I promise. This is the last thing. Somehow or another, we've shifted the mindset in society that we don't have competition, that you can't compete. Like I definitely like, and I'm a brand guy, so I kind of like certain products. So I like these Yetis. I don't like when my wife gets a one that's not a Yeti because it doesn't look right in my cabinet. I don't like when she gets one from work or somebody gives her a gift and it's not the same. But we have competition. I think because there is competition for Yetis. Now I've had this one for so many years. I don't know how much better they've gotten, but because there's competition, this thing is going to have to produce better. Same thing with gym shoes or cars, fill in the blank. But there are instances where we act like there's not competition or that we can't create an alternative. It doesn't have to be the anti-NFL Super Bowl halftime show. It's just another show that's an alternative that rocks with your belief system. It doesn't have to be the anti-Marvel comic book, the anti-DC comic book. No, I just want one that supports my views. I want competition. And just think about it. If everybody who had beef with and has gotten their hands slapped by YouTube, and I'm on YouTube, if they all went to an alternative platform and just got in there and did it, do you realize how quickly YouTube probably will start making some adjustments to their behavior? But YouTube is I hate to say it, the 900-pound gorilla, and they don't have to move. They don't have to change. And the other platforms are not that good. They're not that easy to navigate. And I'm talking to you, Rumble. They're not that easy to navigate. StreamYard, you need to let Rumble get on there so they can have a chance. But those little simple things like that. But I think the thing is not an anti-establishment. It's just an alternative that people rock with. Because think about it. This little comic book right here, Angel Studios. Angel Studios is they put out a movie a couple years ago that did very well, way better than what people thought. And it was about S trafficking, if I remember correctly. They put it out and it was an anti-S trafficking movie, and they did really well. But imagine if they were able and they got the support from us to actually come out and do more of those. Like, I don't understand why we're not encouraging better content that we can get with. That's all. Because I'm pretty sure this little comic book, I don't remember how much it costs. Don't quote me on this. $8, let's just say 10 for easy math. I bet you they wouldn't be mad if they got an influx of 10,000 people who wanted to buy this. And just say, hey, we want to support you and we want you to be able to put out more of these because we want our kids reading good quality comics. If 10,000 people did that, now 10,000 people to Marvel is like a spit in the bucket. They don't care. 10,000 to DC, they don't care about that. But 10,000 to Angel Studios, that probably could change their whole game. So maybe we need to go back and realize we can encourage competition. Competition is a real thing. And we want to see better halftime shows. We want to see more family focused, Christ honoring media and content out there. Maybe we need to start putting our money where our mouth is. Because we can talk about it till the cows come home. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face. But if we were running over here to feed at the slop trough of mainstream media while these guys over here trying to fix a meal that we can actually be nourished from, and we're like, oh, well, everybody telling me, they're laughing at me if I go over here to you and get and support this. So I got to go over here and eat this slop that they're doing with Batman. I got to eat this slop that they're doing with Spider-Man or whatever Marvel's putting out now. Maybe we should stop doing that. Competition is good. And I think maybe if we realize the power of voting with our dollars, voting with our eyes, voting with our, taking our support to things that we actually believe in. Sure, they might not be the best right now. They might not be world class right now. But what would happen if we all supported them? and just said, hey, I want my kids to read. I want my kids to read good comics. I'm going to go over here and support this company. I'm going to tell 10 people about it. I'm going to make a little rant about it on my podcast. And I want my kids to have good comics. My second born likes to draw and she likes to write. She loves writing. I would love for her to be able to write for a graphic novel because she really has a very creative mind. She's very dialed in like that. She writes wonderfully. And I'm like, wow. And I'm thinking like, wow, wouldn't it be crazy if she could get on and write with a good artist that could do the artwork for her and she could actually put that together and make a book and actually sell it? That would be crazy. It would blow her mind. And I'm seeding the idea into her mind. Like, you could do that. You could put together a book that 12 people bought. You could do that. You could put together a comic, a graphic novel or whatever that 12 people bought and then they told 12 of their friends. And you could mess around by your birthday next year and have 500 comics that you got to get out. You're overseeing 500 graphic novels getting sent out because you took the time and pursued it. Why not? Like, explain why that doesn't work. But see, we will fight each other to go back to the slop trough of whatever the mainstream media is putting out. Instead of saying, I don't want to eat that. I'm going to go over here. Sure. They're only making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay, fine. But at least it's a sandwich. They're only making ramen noodles. Hey, let my kids tell you ramen is the Lord's food, right? They only making ramen noodles. Okay, but it's real food. It's real food. It's real nourishing. This stuff over here, what is this? What is this slop? So I just think it's interesting, man. Maybe one day, maybe I'll understand it. I'm just not dialed in enough to understand why people will fight you, knuckle up with you if you say you don't eat from the slop trough of mainstream media. You don't watch that. I don't buy that. I don't support that. I'm over here supporting this. I support Christian hip hop music. I support this type of industry or this type of product. And they want to snicker at you and laugh at you, but they're over here eating slop and you're over here saying, well, at least, hey, they're making a pretty decent little hamburger. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's still on that little flimsy plate. It sure is. Yep, you're right. It is. But you know what? It's actual food. So anyway, I just think that's interesting. Let's do this again this afternoon. I'll be back at 4. Everybody, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. As I said before at the banner, y'all have really flipped my mind with the support and jumping into the best live chat, whether it be on X. I got 35 people over on X, whether you're over here on YouTube or wherever, watching it live or watching it later. I really do appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. I'm looking forward to doing this again with you this afternoon, Lord willing. So I will be back around 4:30. I'll put the announcement up in a few, but I got to get some chores done. So everybody have a fantastic rest of the day. I'll see you all this afternoon. Grace and peace. Hold on, wait, hold on. I just got a text message back. Let me see. Okay, I was trying to see if it was Amanda. It wasn't her. Okay, it was my niece. Shout out to my niece. Anyway, I thought that would be funny if she had replied back. If she replies back, though, I will make sure I talk about it this afternoon because I know that was a very honest question. I appreciate you remembering Amanda's plight. So I will definitely report back. So everybody, have a great rest of the day. Grace and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.